ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus, spokesman and advocate for basic human rights for all people. Today's date is June 2nd, 2017. It's been several days since I posted anything for you about the freedom that has been given to me to share with those of you who will take the time to listen. I have spent the past several days in the hospital, body experiencing some changes that usually happens when it is unable to defend itself against whatever the virus might be. I'm glad to say that today I'm here to give a voice to what has happened, what I have been given to share with you during that period in time. And I want to refer to things as they happen amongst us. You know, oftentimes I speak of truth, and when I speak of truth, I tie it to spiritual things. I tie it to powers beyond the ability of man. I always include what man's role is in this process, but I want to acknowledge the fact that man is not the power. Man is an instrument whereby the power is revealed to those who need to see. And so I want to refer those spiritual things not in context of history, though I might share a quote here and there every now and then. But what I want to do is bring it to our environment. Those things that we can see and not understand, but see and hear of every day. And we hear various interpretations, and depending upon where our thought processes have us, we end up gravitating to one of these particular ideologies, and they're all conflicting with one another, which depicts the society in which we live in today, in which it makes it very complicated for anyone amongst this in particular environment, wherever they might come from, to be able to give a message that would unite, regardless of how much they say it, that would truly unite and bring people together. And my message to you, as it has been for quite some time now, is that it's not going to happen. That in order for that to happen, that direction is going to have to come outside of the box. It's going to have to come outside the precepts and concepts of mankind, who have been programmed to think just like we are. Well, when I talk about it, I talk about a spiritual understanding. I'm talking about something that doesn't divide against you or you, doesn't take away from you or you. Understanding that you all have dreams, and with those dreams being denied, then you wonder what life is all about and why is it worthwhile. And a message of a true lover who wants to share that dream might be answered to all who have the heart to understand. In our world today, I heard a president, I believe, make the statement to the fact that the world is an arena, not a community. Now, some of you might have heard that same statement, and I'm sure you got all kinds of thoughts. And I'm sure they range from total agreement to absolute disagreement. But the thought of that, meaning that the world is like Carnegie Hall or some sports arena. The nations of the world are the participants in it. And the goal is for everybody to indulge themselves in whatever the earth has to produce, utilizing the minds and concepts for which the individual and the nations possess. As if it's a great thing to be able to say that my hands are bigger than yours, and so I grab bigger, that my feet are bigger than yours, so I claim to more, and that my stomach was bigger than yours, so I ate more, and then justified for that reason. Now, that also gives us an understanding, my friends, you know, When I was in the hospital the other day, I was watching television, and I got a chance to watch some of those news cycles that are constant. They're always talking about what's going on. You know, the regular news and media come out with a sound bite, and you hear nothing else of it. So you really can't do that much discussion of that. And it has its purposes. It makes us dumb and ignorant as we are. But on those other media sources, whether it's fake news or whatever, it encourages us to think. It encourages us to search ourselves, what path we're on, where we're going, and are we satisfied with that? Is it good enough? And who are we? And I'm thinking about the hurt and pain that we as individuals suffer at the expense of others, or very few of them, suffering nothing. But all of that which we consider as life for one reason or another, maybe because we've been programmed that way. Maybe it really has nothing to do with life, but we think it is. And we desire it, whether we want to suffer, waiting, thinking that something's going to happen and it'll come to us, or whether we grab a knife and go and take it. That represents us, but we'll ask yourselves, why is it like that? Why is it like that? Is it because we are expressing an attitude of being in an arena? Is it in this arena where a world leader can go before others of this community or sub-community or non-community and speak about things that bring up animosity and dissent, and then offer a phone number? Give me a call. Some might think that that phone number means we can't talk about it in public, but we'll talk about it. What you call that? The art of the deal. So we talk about it, and we come to a conclusion where we both win. And what is this so secret about? What is it that we both win? Well, you would think that one of them think that everybody's corruptible and that they would want to achieve an end, that they're willing to pay another person who's just of the same mindset as they are to play along with the game. One nation, people appear to be winning, another's seem to be losing. That's why we have a third world. And that goes on and on. And people who are watching this, even the nations whose president, your power, whose representation amongst nations is at the highest level, they sit back, believe in the propaganda that they've been fed, believing that perhaps this is okay. This is the way the game is played. Even when they have put before them representation that seems to go against everything they stand for, they take it, saying that they got nothing else to do but choose between the lesser of the evils of the two. Why? Same reason that they have the separation between the church and the state. Because everybody, and whatever the religious order is all about belief. And if you only believe, how can you direct what you don't know? And so, to get the order going and pretend like everything is all right, you say, believe. Have what you want in your representation of the spiritual, of the God, of the high power. But it's subordinate to the state. Why? Because the state pushes itself with laws that you must be bound by. And so your God, all of that is a weak God. And so those of you who believe in your heart very deeply in a real God, you begin to understand that the ugliness that is perpetrated against the people the poverty, the crime, the violence, it must be instituted by aliens championing themselves around as people, by demons and shapeshifters. You've heard people talk about it on some of these media sources. Whether it's true or not is irrelevant. What's happening, if it's happening from straight up human beings, it's the activities of that which must be so separated from the human spirit, from the spirit of the Almighty God, till it represents something that's lost out there in another world. Because it should not and could not and would not happen where people knew better. And so the message, the true message that anyone could bring to you, having brought you to an understanding of what's truly going on, is to answer to you, what is the solution? Well, it's so difficult for people who don't already know the solution to comprehend the solution. However, I have been given to say that for those of you who believe in Christianity, for those of you who believe in God, who believe that the story of Jesus is absolutely true, what was Jesus' prayer? The prayer was that thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Now, here's the result of that. And those who believe in God, those who believe, they are the ones who allow everything that's happening in the world to happen. And they also believe that when they go to church and do the things that are acceptable and understood as normal within the church, when they die, they're going to heaven. Even those who are the greatest sinners, when you think about what they consider as sin, lying, stealing, and killing, and hurting folks, even they go to heaven. Because God, my friend, they say, is a loving God and would not allow these kinds of things to happen. And when it happens in the world, it's an expression that there is no God. So others say there, why should I believe in a God that this can't be stopped? Then you have to ask yourselves, how does it happen? Where is the power to kill? Who does the killing? The gun and the finger, and the bullet, and the arrow, and the bomb, and it kills. But why does it kill? It kills because it's trying to substantiate its belief. It does not know. The challenge, the test becomes, I am. And so you must cease. And since you won't give power to me, then it is my duty and responsibility, lies and evil perpetrate. And so you end up yielding and killing. But now in community, that's a altogether different ball game. In community, the concept is getting along. The concept is doing unto others as you would have others do unto you. The concept is, in so doing, the more it is expressed, the more it life, because it is the process by which life develops. It is the process by what life lives. Community. But where do you get your understanding about community? You don't get it from human beings. No. Oh, let me tell you this before I go. I think I better hurry this up, and I'll come back to it later, but I want to share this with you. What we do in this life, we can't blame on God. No, we can't blame on our Creator, because the Creator gave that responsibility to us, gave us choice. Sure, we come into a world where everything that we learn can be used for good or evil, but the way it is guided, it leads us towards evil, because the fruits, it appears, of evil is much better than those of good. When you think about the richest people in the world, it is a result of experiencing evil. That's where that stuff comes from. The richest people in the world. Somebody say, "Oh no, I just came up with an idea," and benefited from it. Doesn't make any difference. If you, and that takes in everything that you have. You heard somebody say, "Take everything you got," is not for truth. Then you are absent. You see, you've heard, "You shall know the truth, and the truth sets you free." When people believe, they don't know. But if something happens to anyone amongst them that gives them knowledge, no longer do they believe. They stand. Why? Because they know. The evidence that they know is that they are standing. And they are standing against every belief. Don't care what you believe. They are standing against every belief. They are the truth. And when you start talking about who's truly in heaven, let me ask you something. Man says that God loves you so much till you can all get to heaven. That's reducing God to the level of man rather than lifting man to the level of God. Why do you think you have choice? Nobody's going to put you in heaven when you don't want to be in heaven. And in order to be in heaven, you got to what? Thy will be done on earth wherever you at, as though it's in heaven. In other words, you won't settle for anything else. And what is the evidence that you won't settle for anything else? Those things that exist wherever you are, that represent something other than God's way, other than that of peace, other than that of prosperity, other than that of joy, you will not stand for it. You will stand for what does represent peace, prosperity, and joy. Not just for some, but for everyone. And when you stand, you are the light of the world. Why? Because the Spirit of God is shining through you. And what happens? That one that will prove themselves as Almighty will take your life. And that is the greatest reward that you can have in living in the human spirit, in the human body, is that they take your life because you've proven to yourself that you are willing to protect heaven. Somebody says that in heaven you just walk around, what, eating milk and honey and singing songs all day. No, ladies and gentlemen, heaven whatever's in heaven has responsibility to maintain heaven. Peace doesn't just be there. It's there because nobody would accept anything that would deny peace. Prosperity it's just there. It's there because those who are there will not allow anything to take away prosperity for every person, every whatever's there. No, that ain't allowed. And if you belong there, you will know that, and you will be evidently, because before the world, by representing it. And you will be graduated. You heard somebody talk about 144,000. I don't know if that stuff is true. But I know one thing. If you are in heaven, it's because you deserve to be there. And the evidence is it is the fruit of your seed. The fruit of your seed. So, on earth, it is reflected from God to all. Look, people grow at different points in time. That was a time when nations of the world were kind of genuine. They didn't stray so far from God, but as time passed on, it seems like I'm switching to a different message, but something is hitting me now. They focused on other things other than God. That spirit that wanted to be God chose to utilize God's stuff for the benefit of their own. And they had to capture God's greatest creation, I think, are human beings. By putting those human beings' focus off of God and putting it on something else. Now, what they need, want, and desire is what they are all about. But if you can take their focus off them striving to get this by being to others as they want others to be to themselves, to make them think that some of them are better, more important than others, deserve more than others, and then come up with a plan that would give them more than others, and answer these questions as the solution. Not them not knowing that the other side of the mouth is taking, stealing, robbing, and killing from others just to and here life goes. They don't know this. They don't know this. Whew. And then you're living and you want so passionately to see every American playing a part in life with a job, something to give them understanding, the role and respectability, responsibility in being. And let this job be a career of their own choosing, something that they love doing. I really want to see this before I die. And since I'm not going to see it before I die, let me see it in my process, because it's already in my spirit. That every last one of them have those things that are essentially common amongst all of them for survival: food, clothing, shelter, education, and health care. But every last one of them. And that they don't suffer for anything. When a person is sick, they can go straight to and all of the knowledge is not just in this little person or this little location. It's spread across the nation and across the world. So you can go anywhere for medical care and get the best medical care. Why? Because everybody in the field are there because they want to be, and they love it. And they're good. And so you just go to the doctor. You don't have to worry about a bill. Sometimes the people are great that you don't, the medical profession, great that you don't need their services. But excited when you do come in because they get a chance to let the love of health flow. I love to see all that happen. Now you think I'm dreaming. Yes, I'm dreaming. But I'm not just dreaming. I have made up my mind that I am, as the church, separate from the state in the sense that I don't abide by those rules. To me, the state and the church are one. To me, the state and the church are one. What does that mean? That means that you live according to a rule of life. And that rule of life is not stopped by any other old crap that come along trying to prove something else different. What does that say? That says that if it's good for God, if it's good for what God is about, if it's good for life, it's good for the state. What does that mean? That means that it's good for every individual. Every individual. And if the state want to come back and say, no, we want slavery, or we want to take the natives' lands, or we want to take anybody's land, or we just want to be top dog, it ain't going to work. It's not going to work for those who know the truth. And everybody that exists, wherever the stuff is, they do so in bondage. They are not free. And I heard a lady tell me one time that people go to heaven because they want to go to heaven. And you know they want to go to heaven because they tell you they're going to heaven. They know they got to die to go to heaven. And so they give up their lives doing what is right, knowing that they're going to get killed, and that's what they want, to go to heaven, because they don't want to live in hell. And then she started saying people like Martin Luther King, people like Medgar Evers, and so on and so forth. And I was so glad to hear that come out of the mouth of another person other than myself, because that's my aim. You think I'm looking to die from some sickness, from some disease, or somebody blowing my head off because of what I don't have or what I do have, or some affection for another that's been misled? No, my friend. I'm gladly looking for my death, knowing that I'm standing up, that peace and prosperity and joy is experienced not only by my immediate family, as it has been set up to mean something more than you, but my love, my blood, my life is the same blood and life that's in you. I know we've been taught to distance ourselves from that. But when you know the truth, you know that it's all life. But the evidence of a seed that represents fruit of truth or ignorance or belief or knowledge. They're different. One probably leads to the other. Yeah. Because if you don't believe anything, then you have to sometime believe in something. And that definitely is required before you can ever know. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, for wasting your time. I wanted to say something I believe that was much more powerful than what I said. It came out like it did. And so I'm having it posted like it is, because it came from within. And I'm not going to question its benefit. Till next time, this is Eddie Marcus, spokesman and advocate for basic human rights for all people. Oh, one other note. I'm going to change. You know, when I first started out some 30-some years ago, my ministry was called LOVE, Love Ministry, Life of Victory Eternal. After a few years, I changed it to the Moment of Truth. After a few years, I changed it to Paradise on Earth Unlimited. After a few years, I changed it to Basic Human Rights for all people. And now I'm changing it again. The next time I come out, it'll be under the title, As in Heaven, So on Earth. Bye-bye.